In the digital age, loss takes on new dimensions. Jeez, touching lives in ways both familiar and profoundly different from generations past. Modern technology, especially the internet and social media, has transformed how we communicate, share, and process our experiences, including grief. The support networks we reach for, the places we turn to for solace, and even the very memories we try to preserve have all been shaped by online platforms and digital devices. Navigating loss in this era brings unique challenges and opportunities, and understanding these changes is essential for anyone seeking to support themselves or others through the journey of grief. The experience of loss remains universal, yet the context in which it unfolds is constantly evolving. In previous decades, grief was often processed within local communities, families, and religious traditions. News of a loss typically traveled by word of mouth, and the memorialization of our loved ones relied heavily on physical artifacts, photos in frames, letters tucked away, the cherished objects left behind. Gathering to share stories, to comfort each other in person, or to observe rituals provided vital outlets for mourning and remembrance. Today, the boundaries between physical and virtual environments have blurred. Many of us document our lives online, curating digital archives of photographs, messages, and milestones. When loss strikes, these digital footprints suddenly take on new significance. Social media profiles become memorials. Online communities mobilize to offer condolences. Virtual spaces emerge as both arenas of connection and sources of pain. The presence of the deceased lingers in the digital realm, shaping the way survivors grieve and remember. Announcing a loss now often involves making a post rather than a phone call. A single message on a social platform can reach hundreds or even thousands within moments, amplifying both the support and the scrutiny one receives. The outpouring of comments, messages, and digital tributes can be comforting, but not always. The immediacy and scale of online communication can sometimes feel overwhelming, turning a personal moment of grief into a public spectacle. For some, this swarm of attention becomes a lifeline, offering reminders that they are not alone. For others, it may compound their distress, encroaching upon the privacy they crave in sorrow. The social dynamics of online grief can be complicated. Algorithms that control the flow of content can unexpectedly surface memories, prompting a memory post on anniversaries or displaying images at random. These digital echoes can reopen wounds or serve as cherished reminders, depending on the moment and the mourner's state of mind. Meanwhile, those close to the bereaved must decide how to engage. Should they express their condolences publicly or reach out privately? Should someone interact with an online memorial or head to the traditional gravesite? As technology embeds itself more deeply in our lives, these questions become ever more relevant. A particularly profound shift is the creation of digital memorials. Where families might have once created scrapbooks or dedicated a bench or tree in memory of a loved one, today's commemorations sometimes take place on Facebook, Instagram, or specially designed memorial websites. These digital spaces are accessible from anywhere in the world, allowing friends and family separated by distance to participate in collective grieving. Messages of remembrance accumulate, photos are posted and tagged, and stories are shared long after the formal funeral service ends. For many, these online memorials provide a sense of continuity and community that transcends geography. Yet the digital persistence of a memory presents challenges as well. The online presence of the deceased does not fade easily. Their social media profiles may remain active for months or years, either managed by others or left dormant but still visible. For the bereaved, the ability to revisit these profiles can provide solace, a way to feel connected, to recall happier times. But it may also cause emotional pain, especially when reminders of loss appear unexpectedly in daily browsing. The question of how to manage a deceased loved one's digital legacy, whether to preserve, delete, or transform their online presence, is a deeply personal decision, and one that many are now facing for the first time. Social media also brings unique forms of validation and recognition to the grieving process. In countless online support groups, forums, and chat rooms, people are finding safe spaces to share their stories, struggles, and questions. Here, they can connect with others who have faced similar losses, learning from their journeys and feeling affirmed in their own experiences. The power of peer support, especially when formal services are inaccessible or overwhelming, cannot be overstated. Digital platforms have become lifelines for those who might otherwise feel isolated by their grief. At the same time, the performance of grief online introduces new pressures. Individuals may feel compelled to post tributes, expecting or fearing judgment based on the outpouring of responses they receive. There is a growing awareness of grief policing, the phenomenon where others, consciously or unconsciously, comment upon or critique another person's grieving process. For some, the visibility and permanence of online expressions can be daunting, adding layers of anxiety to an already painful process. This underlines the importance of approaching digital mourning with empathy, respect, and consideration for the diversity of human responses to loss. The professional landscape around grief has also adapted. Therapists and counselors increasingly offer services via telehealth platforms, facilitating remote sessions that break down barriers of distance and mobility. Support groups convene online, sometimes catering to very specific types of loss or demographics. Even funerals have entered the virtual space, with live-streamed memorial services allowing participation across continents. These changes were only accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic, when lockdowns and restrictions made physical gatherings impossible for many families. Though the circumstances were tragic, the innovations that emerged have helped countless people access support they might otherwise have missed. Despite these resources, the digital age does not erase the fundamental difficulties of mourning. The intensity and unpredictability of grief persist, whether one finds solace in online spaces or not. For some, the virtual world's constant connectivity brings relief and companionship. For others, it can intensify feelings of isolation or provide an unwelcome sense of surveillance. It is important to acknowledge that while technology has expanded the options for coping with loss, there is no single right way to grieve. The journey is unique for every individual, shaped by personality, relationships, culture, and circumstance. Privacy, too, is an evolving concern. The ease with which information circulates can make it difficult to control the narrative of a loved one's life and death. Well-intentioned posts, photographs, or even obituaries may be shared widely beyond their intended audience. Some mourners worry about sensitive details being exposed or misrepresented. Others fear their loved ones being forgotten altogether if they refrain from posting online. Navigating these tensions requires thoughtfulness, balancing the need for connection with the desire for discretion and dignity. For those who wish to support someone experiencing loss, digital tools offer both opportunities and pitfalls. Simple gestures, a private message, a comment expressing sympathy, the sharing of a meaningful memory can mean a great deal. But online interactions should never substitute for the depth of support found in honest, sustained engagement. It may be helpful to ask directly how someone prefers to communicate. Are they comfortable discussing their grief online, or would they rather meet in person? Would they appreciate messages over time, or do they prefer space? Listening and responding to these preferences can help ensure support is appropriate and meaningful. In reflecting on all of these changes, it is clear that the digital age offers unprecedented means to remember, to share, and to seek support. However, the fundamental nature of loss remains unchanged. Grief is a process, often chaotic and nonlinear, marked by shifting emotions and unpredictable memories. Digital tools can be harnessed to aid healing, but they are only part of a broader tapestry encompassing culture, faith, community, and personal memory. As individuals and societies, we are still learning how to integrate these new technologies into the rituals and realities of mourning. The etiquette of online grief is evolving, shaped by collective trial and error, and by our deep, persistent longing to hold on to those we have lost. We are crafting modern forms of remembrance, shaped by bits and algorithms, yet deeply rooted in human love and connection. In facing the future, The key lies in intentionality, choosing how, where, and with whom we mourn, curating the digital legacies we want to leave behind, and extending compassion to ourselves and others as we navigate terrain that can be both bewildering and beautiful. Whether through a carefully worded post, a private message, a shared photograph, or the quiet contemplation of memories, online or offline, what matters most is that we honor those we have lost and support one another in carrying their memory forward. Grief in the digital age is, in equal measure, a challenge and a gift. The devices in our hands and the networks that connect us cannot erase pain, but they can help us find meaning, connection, and even hope as we journey together through the difficult, universal process of navigating loss.